Welcome to Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter, a video podcast series with certified money coach Marlene Elizabeth, with amazing weekly guests who share their inner challenges, personal triumphs, and inside tips and strategies so you can prosper, lead, and love bravely in business and life. So get comfy and get ready to grow money wings.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter. I'm your host, Marlene Elizabeth, and it is such a pleasure and honor to have you joining us here today for this very special interview that I am about to present today. One of the things I wanted to share is that we are wrapping up this wonderful series, Let's Get Tender, Money Conversations That Matter. I really was inspired to put this series together in such a way that helped you as a viewer start to take a look at your relationship with money and see how you can start creating more financial self-care in your life so that you could thrive in your business and in your life. I really feel that we are so called today to really get a handle on this relationship that we have with money. And so I've had the pleasure of having guests all throughout this year share about their money stories, their money challenges, their money tips and strategies. And today's episode, as we wrap up this series, is going to be one of the most powerful ones. I'm very, very excited about today's guest. Now, you've met him before. My guest today, Mr. Isaac Samuel Miller, has been on Let's Get Tender. But before I wrapped up this series, I just had to have him back because Isaac has just released an incredible new book that I can't wait to share with you. And so today we're going to be talking about his book. So I want to warmly welcome you to the show today, Isaac.
Hello, Miss Elizabeth. I'm happy to be on the show today, and I'm ready to get started and have a very, very powerful conversation about many things.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, before we get started, for those of you who have not met Isaac yet, I'd like to just share just a quick introduction about his work and his life. So, Isaac Samuel Miller is an entrepreneur who was born on July 19th, 1988 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is a licensed strength and conditioning fitness trainer, certified therapeutic recreation specialist, a sales coach, a motivational speaker, an author, a spoken word artist, a minister, and the inspirational podcast show host of Just Get Up with Isaac. Isaac's motto is, if you don't believe it will happen for certainty, then why waste your time pursuing it? Isaac has inspired and personally trained thousands of people throughout his career as a leader. He's known for inspiring people internationally through his spoken word piece entitled Self-Belief. I love that title. And soon, Isaac will be known for his powerful, amazing book, Just Get Up and Manifest Your Inner Genius. So once again, Isaac, welcome to the show.
I am excited. I'm ready to talk. And that was a very good introduction for me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Isaac. And so, as I've shared, we're going to be chatting about your book, Just Get Up. And viewers, I've had the honor of reviewing an advanced copy of Isaac's manuscript. And I just wanted to share with you what I wrote in my review, because I really do just feel this is just an amazing book that I believe everybody should read. Everybody. All ages, all backgrounds, from all around the world. I just really feel this is a brilliant book. So here's what I wrote in the review. Isaac's book is pure gold. Trying to make your dreams come true in life and business can feel impossible and disheartening. But not with this book by your side. Just Get Up will empower you to answer your call to greatness, no matter what personal or financial challenges you've faced. It's written by, who I've just introduced, a very powerful trainer, speaker, and spiritual leader who obviously cares deeply about the hundreds of people he's helped over his career. This book will help revolutionize your mindset to think like a winner and gain the valuable confidence that you need to transform your dream against all odds into reality. So with that, Isaac, I want to ask you, so what made you decide to write a book and get this story, your message, into the world?
Well, I have to just tell you briefly about my journey. So since I was a little boy, I've always believed that I had something to do special. I actually believe that everyone has something that they were called to do. And I didn't have any evidence to really support this as a kid, but now I know from philosophical, scientific, biblical, and psychological evidence that everyone has a gift that's irrefutable. It can be easily proven. And that a gift is something inherent. That's what I'm referring to. It can't be taught. It can be improved, but everyone has that. You never hear of fish taking swimming lessons. You don't hear of birds taking flying lessons. You don't hear of lions taking lessons of how to eat meat. That is inherent, and everyone has something special within them. So I reached a point in my life about 2 years ago when I was about 28, and I abandoned my inherent gift because people conditioned me to think that it was that I wasn't going to be successful at it. They right away conditioned me to think about it as money. Kids don't really think about that. It comes from other people. I got to a point where after making money, working for myself, which I enjoy training people, I was blessed to use my gift, but I wasn't using it succinctly or precisely in the way that I was intended to do it. So I started feeling like something was missing. So I had this overwhelming urge to get back into writing. And it started with me listening to speeches, listening to people like Les Brown saying something about you're the one. And just hearing that resonate in my heart, I said, I've always felt that way, but I had never heard someone speak like he did. But I always agree with that type of speaking. So I started thinking I'm going to write a book again. And then I auditioned for America's Got Talent. I did a spoken word piece. I didn't make it on the season. No one had actually ever made it on the show doing poetry, but I believe in anything. I say anything is possible. So my goal was to get on the show and promote my book. Then I was like, what book? I don't even have a book. So I was in Florida in May of 2017. I was walking with my wife, and this is my personal experience. It's gonna sound crazy, but something whispered in my ear and it said, just get up. I felt it. I knew there was something I was supposed to do. I didn't know what the book was going to be about, but I knew I was supposed to do it. And that inspiration started the process, and I got on it right away. And then I realized that my life's journey could be used to help people. So I put a systematic process in how I did it. I was what you would call an unconscious competent. But then I became aware, consciously aware of how I did the things that I did. For one, God was on my side. But two, I said, if I could teach this to other people and get them to really become aware of what they're capable of, then that would make me feel very, very great. So I really believe that everyone has an inner genius inside of them. And I wanted people to come alive. So that's how I got started. And I just wanted the people just to go with the title. First step, just get up. And then I'm going to show you how to do it with a step-by-step process. And you're going to realize the same thing that I've discovered. You're unstoppable, and you have an inner genius inside of you too.
You know, this show is called Let's Get Tender, and you begin your book with a very powerful and tender journey of your life. And but you share it in such a unique way where you bring the reader right to as if it were the present moment, and you take the reader step by step. And it's a very, I mean, I know that I had tears, I had laughter. It's a powerful journey that you share in right from the beginning. So you really engage and hook the reader so powerfully. And it's such a powerful story about you escaping the world of poverty, right?
Yes, I hated it. You know, so I remember, seeing my mom being chased and beat by my dad, but my love for my dad was so unrequited. And although it was unrequited, I desired his attention so much he could do no wrong in my eyes. So I thought that, seeing hundreds of roaches scattering about in the kitchen was normal. I didn't think much of it. I wasn't exposed to anything. I actually didn't go to the movies. I went to the movies for the first time with my mom about 2 years ago. So I didn't go anywhere, and we had duct tape on the floor covering up holes in the floor. And I didn't really know what government assisted programs was at the time, but I made up my mind that I wanted to escape the situation because I never had no one ever interrupted my ability to really just use my imagination. And I always believed in that. I didn't have courage in much things, but I had courage to believe what I felt up here. And that's what courage really is, the ability to act outwardly on what you feel inwardly. Because it's there for a reason. That's proof that God has given you something. Most people just don't know how to nurture it. So I said that I'm going to get out of this situation. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have no clue, but I just knew that at some point my time is going to come. And you don't have to be 25 years old or 50 years old. You have King Josiah did something incredible at 8 years of age. So it doesn't matter where you start. It just matters how you finish. And that really is true. Now, how you start can make things more difficult for you, but even then, that story can be used to help other people. So I just wanted to escape poverty, and I was not going to be stopped. Death, whatever, bring it on. I wasn't going to be stopped. That was my motto, and it still is my motto.
Yeah, you gave such a powerful example of this. You gave many powerful examples of this, of just your conviction and things you've gone through, even as a elementary school age child, and the bullying that took place, and and of course, not able to come to school sometimes with even good shoes or clothes or even haircut, all those things, but you gave this very powerful example of your mom would ask you to go to the store to buy food with food stamps, and you absolutely refused, even if it meant she would get angry at you, maybe spank you, but you just absolutely knew that was not for you.
Yes, now what's interesting about this experience, I didn't realize that what I was doing was powerful until other people told me it was. So I think that helped me to have a high level of ingenuity because I thought it was normal. I was training one of my clients, and I kind of told him I didn't have any baby pictures. So I have no clue how I looked as a baby. And I just thought it was normal. And he was like, I actually help out with parole hearings, and typically this is synonymous with some people that are in prison. Like typically prisoners don't have any baby pictures. And I was like, oh, for real? I thought just maybe my mom forgot that this is something that people experience. So the only other person I knew that didn't have baby pictures was my sister. So that's when I started thinking, I was like, So when I stood up and resisted food stamps, I felt like that was something everybody's supposed to do, just work. Well, why would you take a handout? Well, I didn't understand it until I heard my grandma yelling at my mom one day, telling her she needs to get off the Section 8 program, that my stepdad was living off her at the time, and that he was a lowlife. And I was like, what, lowlife? I said, that don't sound good. So I said, wait a minute, this house isn't for us. Wait a minute now. And I started listening and paying attention. That's when I discovered the welfare check. That's when I discovered that I had to start going to the housing authority at some point. My mom said, you got to sign these papers. If you don't sign these papers, they're going to kick us out of the house. And I said, well, let them kick us out. We can go to work. I can't work. I have a mental problem. No, you can beat that. So I didn't think much of that, but it shaped my mentality. So it was kind of like, it was innate, but a nurtured innateness that I refused to accept that was my life. I said, if other people can have this, I don't. See, I believe that God doesn't show favoritism. So I had to understand that we create the lives that we have, and children can't control the environments they're born into, so they have to suffer temporarily. However, the greatest gift that God can give you is awareness, because once you become aware that you're not a victim, once you become aware that with God's help, you can do anything, And there's other people that are going through way more than you're going through. And actually what I went through pales in comparison to some people in other countries. So if they have overcome overwhelming obstacles, then that is enough proof that I can too. So I said, I'm not using that food stamp card. I refuse to do it. I just kind of knew that if I did that, that was going to shape my thinking. I don't really know how to explain that, but I just knew as a kid, everything that you do shapes your mind. And that's just how I felt. So I said, that's not what I want. I'm not going to do it. And I refuse to be denied. And I guess that's why I became an entrepreneur at 17, you know.
Yes, yes, which is amazing. I mean, just this innate, just this innate ability, this gift that God's given you of knowing your value. It's like this has just been born into you right from the beginning. And the other thing that's so compelling too is that I love how you share in the book how you just started your journey, your escape from poverty, just starting with where you were. And one of the key ways you started was with just respecting your body. Like I remember you saying that you didn't have weights or a gym you belonged to. So you just got, I believe it was the dresser or a nightstand and just would lift weights with your nightstand. But in a way, faithfully, just like, I mean, to this day, where you've never, ever not taken care of your body, starting with the wealth and the riches you already had just within your own body.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Everything is perspective. You know, one person sees a glass half full, one person sees it full, another person sees it empty. As long as your perspective is right, you can create the life that you want. So I was a big fan of Bruce Lee, and your association and your perspective shapes your mind. So I used to watch Bruce Lee. I would read his books. I read the Bible. I was reading spiritual stuff. I was watching the athletes, and I was learning their work ethics. So although the desire may have been somewhat innate, but those were teaching lessons for me that I didn't realize was teaching me based on my desire. My desire was right. I need to escape this. So what are they doing? I looked up to them. So I kind of knew I don't want to look up to this guy that's living an immoral life as an example. That's not how I want to be. So Bruce Lee, I was a big time fan. He worked hard. He worked out. So I got to be like Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee did whatever it took. Now that's how I shaped my mind. So I said, well, I don't have any weights. I don't have money. I said, here's the nightstand. I said, let me take the drawer out of the nightstand, and I'm going to just lift that. So I'll lift the dresser, whatever it is. I'll just start with what I have. But I didn't have a clue that was going to lead to me becoming a trainer. But I just made a commitment to work out 3 days a week when I was 11, and I haven't missed since. I went when I'm 31 now. I've been went 20 years straight, and I worked out at least 3 times a week. I work out about 5 or 6 times now. But that kind of discipline for 20 years is ingrained in you. It's like a default setting. It's like even if I wanted to be mediocre, I couldn't do it. Like I'm just incapable of being that way. And habits, repetition, and it's not by accident. Some people just aren't aware that they have formed standards of mediocrity over years. But if they became aware, then they could change it.
Yes. And one of the things that I noticed in reading your book is, as a reader, in telling your story, you really kind of remove so many excuses that we may have in our life for fulfilling our call to greatness. Every excuse in the book, it kind of gets tossed out in reading your book. And one section in one of your chapters talks about daddy drama. And I know that sometimes, we can feel like, well, maybe I'm not doing better because of this parent, or, but and sometimes even as a parent myself now, you can believe that if a child doesn't have like maybe the perfect upbringing, they're not going to be this amazing, beautiful person that they're meant to be in life. And your book really just shatters all that, because as you shared in your book about daddy drama, you didn't really have your dad in your life growing up, right?
No, I didn't. Now, well, my dad says he took me on a fishing trip when I was like 2, but of course I don't remember that. So I can count the number of times I've seen him. I spent one summer with him when I was 7, and we didn't do anything. You know, my dad got his cousin pregnant. I found that out later on that he got his own cousin pregnant, and he he's a drug user. Then I saw him again at 11, and it was at a point where I looked at my dad as my hero. But then I started to realize as I got older, he wasn't around. So he did call me once a year on my birthday up until I was 17. But after that, I never heard from him again. So what I decided to do, I decided to start reaching out to him. And that happened when I was 26. My wife she was my fiance at the time. I went out there to try to find him. So I searched for him for 3 weeks, called people. He finally got in touch with me, went out there, gave him my number again. He just never called me back again. So, and it's kind of painful. I felt like, he's the parent. Why am I chasing him? But a part of me was like, what if he doesn't know any better? What if he just needs a spark? Thinking about how I felt like I was able to motivate my mom most recently with God's help. So he wasn't there, but I think it's healthier to forgive and let go. Because if you stay in that victim mentality, it'll get in the way of your own greatness. Because when you really think about it, what good is it holding on to resentment? It hurts you, not the other person. So no matter what has happened in your life, I know that it feels right. You're indignant. You want to say, yeah, this is your fault. It's you to blame. And, but really that's not helping you. So it's better to just say, okay, these are cards I've been dealt. I don't really like it, but what we're going to do moving forward. And I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I have my real father, which is God. That's what it says in Psalms. Your mom or dad may abandon you, but God says, I will never forsake you. So if you let God become your parent, then you automatically become unstoppable because God is unstoppable. So that was my father. He came through for me all the time.
See, and that's why I feel so confident in recommending this book, because many people who have had that kind of experience that you share in your book can come out of it bitter and angry and all those things. And yet throughout this book, as you tell your story, you do it from love and respect, especially respect and dignity for those around you. You don't come at it from a place of everyone else should be perfect. No, you come at it from this place of just humility, what's reality, and where we can go beyond. And as you mentioned, any path to success really involves a spiritual power, right? And then also, as you mentioned, your wife being right by your side through a lot of this as well. So, in my book, when I wrote Money Wings, and also prior to that, I'd written a chapter in a different book that was an anthology. And I came up with a phrase, believe in your brave heart and blazing imagination to thrive. And that's before I met you, Isaac. And to me, you embody that phrase, believe in your brave heart and blazing imagination to thrive. As I read your book, I started to realize that, and you said it already earlier, that a lot of the reason that you were able to escape poverty and be so successful as you are today is because of this incredible imagination, this gift of imagination, being this dreamer that you are, that God created you to be.
Yeah, we all are dreamers. And I know people say that all the time, but when I wrote this book, I felt like it was stated in a way where there's all kinds of personalities, and it's all based on our upbringing, what we're exposed to. If you don't, whatever you put in your mental factory is going to come out. If you put a bunch of junk, then your mind is junk. If you put good stuff, it becomes something great, but only if it has the right motive. You can put good stuff in there, but if the heart is sullied or bad, then it still messes up the good information. So when I wrote this book, I wanted to put a scientific process to it, something that's proven, and put the spiritual aspect, the belief system, because even if you have something that's proven, if the belief system is messed up, it still won't work. So the person, you can only act based on how you believe. So if you don't believe in yourself, someone can give you all the great information. Really, belief in yourself is a higher belief in God. God guarantees that you're going to be successful at Ephesians 2:10. He wouldn't, the chance of you being here are 1 in 400 trillion. You came here to win. We came here to win. But people don't believe that. It sounds crazy. But everything you can think of starts with a committed decision. There's not one person, even John F. Kennedy, I'm going to put a man on the moon. He didn't know how he was going to do that. He went to the leading scientist. What is it going to take? He said the will to do it. Everything starts with a committed decision. We figure out the rest later. So that's what I did as a kid. I just said, I don't know how I'm going to do this. All I know, I'm going to do it. And that's the first step. And then the belief system really kicks in at that point. And you're going to figure out you have genius in you, this brain that you have up here. We aren't taught to use it. We're told the wrong information. And if you study everything, fact-based information, you'll see that some of the greatest people to ever do anything, they all believed in themselves. They had the courage to take life head on. They had the courage for people to deny them. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times, but he refused to be denied. Henry Ford, all these people. And I'm not talking about just a monetary thing. I'm talking about their work ethic. You can't beat that. That's the blueprint. Believing in yourself, believing in God, understanding who you are. Don't mimic other people. Like again, you fish don't take fishing lessons. So you have something that can't be taught. It's in you, and that's what my book. I got a copy of it, hardcover. Just Get Up and Manifest Your Inner Genius. I wanted you to tap into that book, and I put a program together that does it step by step, because there's nothing that would bring me more joy than for someone else to come alive and realize what they are, not because I'm great, because God is great. He's the manufacturer of life. And just like Chevrolet and Ford, when they have something going on with their product, they do a recall on it. And God is the same way. He put his name on us. He put his stamp. So we have to succeed for him to look good. So he uses people to help us come alive. And how sad it is for so many people to live their whole life and never discover this greatness that they have inside of them. So I wrote that book for the true dreamers. I wrote the book for the people that believes that everything is created twice. First in imagination, then in reality. And that's how everything starts with an idea. So that's what I want the people to take, that not I'm so great, the greatness and glory goes to God, and you can just get up.
Yes, in fact, that's what's the whole rest half of the book is you laying out for the reader how they can also undergo their own transformation. And it's very detailed, very powerful. You share these amazing leaders who have been your role models as well. And of course, I love that in that list, you also include Oprah, you include MLK, a whole lot of list of people that you share about. And the other thing I love too is that you kind of talk about the transformational process in a way of kind of giving birth. And that's kind of really integrated throughout the program that you teach as well, right?
Yes. Now, when I wrote this book, I wanted to do something different. I said that I want to create something that hadn't been done before, or maybe something I haven't, really thought about. So what I discovered as a kid, I always pursued 3 dreams at the same time, but they were all kind of connected to something that was in harmony with my natural abilities. So remember, I call myself an unconscious competent. So what's great about, like, let's say you're planting an apple tree. The apple tree don't care if you know exactly how the process works. If you plant it, put it in the right soil, water is going to grow. The same as someone that actually can explain it. Don't care if you know how it works, it doesn't. That's how life is. Some people are successful, they don't know how they did it. That's why they can't teach people. But once we start thinking, how did I do this? Instantly, another part of your brain kicks on. You start investigating. Then when you couple it with love, then God steps in. He said, I'm going to show you how you did this because I want you to help people. So now what's interesting about the birthing process, as a kid, I wanted to be a martial arts master. I wanted to be a writer and an NBA player. Now, I felt like that was things I was good at. So what I discovered is that if you don't know your gifts, if you, in that chapter 9 is what she's referring to, develop your dreams to give birth, develop your genius to give birth to your dreams. So if you don't know what you want to do, just start by writing down 3 things that you feel like are connected in the same field, something that you know really could see yourself doing. Take out money. Don't think about any of that. This is what I'm good at, and then you keep. The process shows you how to refine it until you eventually narrow it down to one, and it's kind of like a 27-month plan. But if you keep repeating this process, you're going to discover your true gift of value. That's what I like to call it, your main thing. You may be good at 25,000 things, but you have one thing inside of you that once you nurture it, that is your gift of value. That is the thing that God put inside of you. That is the thing that cannot be taught. And that process kind of helps you to identify that. And what's significant is no one should tell you what this is. It's inherent. You already know. No one can tell you when you're in love. You know it. That's how your gift is. And if you just trust that, with God's approval, I can guarantee you that you will discover something about yourself that you never have seen or discovered before. And you have to do it. It's incredible. You got to discover this. So it's a journey.
Yes, once you do it, you can't go back. Like you said, once you do it, you can't go back. And, you know, this book, it really is a reminder that when you're on this journey, you're not alone, you know. And so I would love, there's just so much to share about this book, Isaac. And I know we're wrapping up on our time here. So before we do wrap up, I just would love for you to share, how can people find your book and purchase it?
Well, you can find my book, Just Get Up and Manifest Your Inner Genius, on Barnes & Noble or Amazon. It's available for pre-order. The release date is August 31st, but you can find it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or you can go to my website, which is www.isaacsmiller.com. That's ISAACSmiller.com. And then as soon as you go on my website, the book pops up, click on the link, pre-order it, and that's how you can gain access to the book. And it's going to have an audio version as well that should be up before it's released. It's available softcover, hardcover, all ebook formats. And I appreciate the support, and make sure you listen to my podcast episodes on my YouTube channel, which is Just Get Up with Isaac, no spaces. So that's how you can gain access to the book. And I wrote it from my heart, and the Bible is a must read, but use my book in harmony with God's word, and it can help change your life forever.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, Isaac, thank you so very much for this beautiful contribution, and for all the work you do, and for the courage that you've had to just keep getting up. And yes, I wish you all the very best. And thank you so much, viewers, for tuning in today. And I wish you all the very best as you continue to unfold your beautiful financial potential, one brave feather at a time. God bless.